Welcome into the Jam Happy Hour. Hope everybody's having a beautiful afternoon and or evening. I hope you're ready for a lovely hour of music and conversation and just getting to know each other a little bit better. Tonight we're going to be joined by the 180s. Jumping in, it is Autumn and Daniel. And their cats, which I hear are going to be making an appearance at some point. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, look, I see one already. I am
Bo.
in love.
Bo, Mr. Bojangles, we call him Bo for short.
Hi, Mr. Bo. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the Jam Happy Hour. Basically, it's an hour of just getting to know each other a little bit better. And of course, getting to know your music a little bit better. I hate the question, but it's so informative. If you had a 30,000 foot view, what we're about to experience for the next hour, how would you describe your sound?
I think we would call it probably Americana with tinges of, country, 80s pop, disco, which sounds like something that wouldn't go together.
Yeah, and classical.
Right. It's things that might not translate, that might not come through in the acoustic versions of these songs that we'll be playing, but things that if you listen to our record, that'll make sense.
It's all of my favorite things, so I'm already pretty excited about this. I love to jump in right away. What is the first song you would like to play for us this evening?
The first song we're going to play is called Two Jet Planes.
Two Jet Planes
The first
with
song on the album.
the 180s. Oh, and from the album too. We'll get into the album here in just a little bit, but you guys enjoy here in the Jam Happy Hour.
All right.
Flying closer to the sun, holding on to you. Nowhere to breathe, nowhere to run. I see it turning blue. I don't remember how we wound up here. Somewhere out beyond the atmosphere. Yeah, we are two jet planes with no runway. Forever dreaming out in space. Yeah, and I wait another day to make the call. Whoa, if we can't land, I'll take the fall with you now. Saw you with that old suitcase. Where you're running to? You said it's all about the chase, but something's killing you. I see that you want more, just like me. Sometimes you gotta crash to be free. Yeah, we are two jet planes with no runway. Forever dreaming out in space. Yeah, and I wait another day to make the call. Oh, if we can't land, I'll take the fall for you now. Still lost with you after all. I don't remember how we wound up here.
It's interesting when you name check like a lot of genres and a lot of influences right off the bat. Like your brain kind of goes into this like scrambled egg of like, oh, what are we going to hear? And then when you hear a song like Two Jet Planes, and it is a beautiful blend of a lot of different things. How did you guys kind of end up in this sound and this place? Like it feels like it's a lot of layers coming into one, which is such a big question. But
Yeah.
A, what a beautiful sound. And B, how did you come to being in it?
Thanks. Oh my gosh. I mean, where do we even start?
Maybe with the name. I
Yeah.
mean, it feels like 180 kind of like a good place
Yeah.
to start.
Well, we were
Yeah.
we were in another band before this together called New Reveille, and it was like sort of it's like an Americana folk country band. And this go round, like we just wanted to do something different. And we had been on a label in that other band, and as we were trying to put this together and figure out what it was, we kind of changed our minds a lot just in general. We're the type of people who have a hard time deciding what we want to eat
You
for dinner, let
Geminis.
alone what we want to do with our lives, right? So as we were, we came up with all these different names. We kept changing our mind, like what kind of
Gotcha.
music are we doing? You'd come up with one that's like sort of a country song, another that's like an 80s pop song. We're like, how is this all going to live together? Like,
Right.
so we came up with the name 180s because we just kept changing our minds, and we just decided we would steer into
Nice.
it. That's,
Yeah, but it all kind of, I mean, I guess we kept changing our minds about like what the music is going to be, but really in the end we just were like, let's do it all. Let's do all the things we want to
Yeah.
do. Let's take, so I'm from the Pacific Northwest, he's from North Carolina, and you know,
Two
we each just have,
totally different like
Yeah.
upbringings and sounds and like you
Yeah.
couldn't get more far apart.
I know, yeah, it's like way across the country. So that I think is in there a little bit, just that we both like so many different types of music, and we actually both like a lot of the same kinds of music. He grew up on something a little different, but we both also grew up on like grunge too.
Yeah.
So there's like
Sure.
elements, I don't know, that there's musical
Yeah.
ideas that we share, and then some that
yeah.
we maybe don't quite as much, but we wanted to put all of it into one thing, and I think we both just like
Yeah.
we love it. We both love it. We just wanted to do something we both loved. So
And as we're making
Yes.
we're making the album trying to figure out what it is. I think it was equal parts intentional, equal parts accidental, everything that happened. But in some cases we would just start throwing paint at the wall. We would start recording tracks. We'd get drum tracks, guitar tracks, stacks and stacks of violins until it sounded like a whole orchestra, right? And then next thing you know, we have a track sheet with like 300 tracks. And we're like, what is this? We start carving things away. We're like, how do we make this synth part that we have here work with this pedal steel guitar part? And so it just becomes this like weaving in and out of all these different textures, and that kind of like it was just a discovery of path.
It opens my mind up to a lot of questions in the texture sphere, in the how you see the music, how do you hear the music. I mean, I could be wrong, but when you talk about layers and textures and genres and stuff like that, everything seems to be like an ingredient into like a soup or into a meal or into music. And you're bringing so many things from so many different places. How did you not get overwhelmed by there are all these endless possibilities? How do we bring it into the sound that is the 180s?
I think we probably did get overwhelmed in some
Yeah.
in some cases.
We put all the ingredients in the stew, and it
yeah.
tasted really weird at first.
Yeah, it's true. And then we had to kind of keep remaking the recipe until it sat right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think we kind of came up with like, a recipe for different types of soups that all work.
Yeah,
we
the
could
musical
keep going
soups.
on with this metaphor forever.
Yeah, I think that's
but-
probably pretty accurate.
Yeah. But yeah.
Do you
so
find yourself approaching the music visually, or do you? I mean, some artists do, and they see it as like a story.
I think it varies song to song, really. Sometimes we come in, we already kind of know what we want the song to be about. Other times, we'll do all the production before we have any idea what it's even about. And it's interesting you say visually, and I was thinking a different kind of visually because when you're self-producing, we're produced and engineered this whole thing ourselves. So we spend a lot of time looking at the program that we
Sound
use.
bars
Yeah,
and
the sound, yeah,
lines
exactly.
and-
Audio waveforms. So you go to sleep and you're hearing the song, but you're seeing those waveforms, right? Like you're
Yeah.
seeing the track sheets that you're putting together. So you do start to kind of think about it visually, even though the arrangement of the song, you kind of start to see it visually.
I don't think a lot of
actually-
people
yeah.
think of music visually, though. I mean, even here, like behind me, the tasting room, we have massive prints of sound waves that are major songs that we all grew up with, but they're all over the tasting room. And for people that have never seen music visually, how would you explain that? Just like a little bit more. Autumn, I'm asking you particularly. Like, how do you see music?
So I think Daniel and I think our brains work in very similar ways, but I don't know. Am I more photographic than you? I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we both are, but so I know there are some people who have like this thing where they hear music and they see colors.
Oh, the synesthesia.
Synesthesia. Yeah. So I certainly don't have that, but I
If
definitely
my brain could handle it.
Yeah, I know. I've got so much going on. I couldn't. Yeah.
I don't need pink, blue, and purple. I just need good music. But yes, there are
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
see music in a color sense. But
Right.
like visually, when you're putting your songs together, you're putting your sound together. Like, how does that sit with you?
So I feel like I have a bit of a hard time like envisioning what the end result could be. And I think for me, it's like, and I'm going to use, you said this a lot, but really just like literally throwing paint at stuff and just cutting it out until something works. But like for me, I don't think that like we've written a lot of these songs, or I guess maybe half the songs. I don't remember how many, but some of them were like written acoustically. So, with a guitar or a piano and a vocal. And then it's just the bass line of the song, right? And then how the production comes across, or like what we want to do with the production, I have a hard time knowing like where a song can go. So like
Okay, so you're the purist. You're like, I've got this instrument and this instrument and this instrument, and then you put it into the programming,
Right.
Or you put it into the filtering, and it takes on this whole different life. And you're like,
right.
oh my god,
Yeah, so I think for him, like I feel like he's like, oh yeah, we got to do this and it's going to be awesome. And he like knows
because
what
Daniel,
it needs.
you're like more of the engineer. You're like more of the like you're into that like tweaking it.
I think out of necessity, I don't think of myself as very strong in the left brain. You hand me a cable, like I will tangle it up without even trying to. But yeah, I did a lot of the engineering, but when it came to the mixing part of it, I mean, we sat there, spent a lot of time just sitting there together.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned ingredients, like there's so many ingredients, and we're like, wait, what can we take out of here? What can we put back in? And in some cases,
That's a big question too.
You might have like, I mean, we use the phrase a couple times, like it's not production, it's reduction.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
gonna write that one down. That's great.
Because you're kind of after this distilled simplicity in the end, and I don't know. I wouldn't know simplicity is how I would. Simple is how I would
No, I
describe
actually
the
really like that
production.
comment though. Distilled simplicity, especially
Yeah.
coming from North Carolina, which we'll get in on.
But I like to think of like, for instance, like a sculptor. They don't start with nothing and then all of a sudden they have like a beautiful wood piece. They don't build the wood or whatever sculpture. They carve it. They carve it out of a big block
From
of ice,
something.
wood, whatever they carve it out of. So I feel like that's kind of maybe for both of us how we kind of approach it more so.
So for the next song that you would like to do for us, like figure out which song that's going to be, and then B, where did the song begin, and how did it get to where we're going to experience it now?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's a good one for this.
Okay.
Yeah. So the song we're gonna do next is called "No King," and so this is a single we released last year, and we put out a video with it as well. This song started out in a really interesting way, and you're gonna hear a really interesting version of it acoustically right now.
Yeah.
But
Not originally acoustic, I'm assuming.
no.
No.
This was a funny one that I guess we just kind of wanted to see. This started out as almost not a joke, but akin to that, where we were like, let's just like in songwriting, you have to practice songwriting to get good at it. So we were like, let's practice writing, I don't know, a disco
Let's
song.
do a disco song. What are the elements of disco? Like, let's listen to a
already
song
here.
because we never done it. We never done it before. So like, we were like, we should understand at least, you know, the rudiments of disco. So let's see if what happens if we start throwing that stuff down. You know, we were listening.
Did
to
you do
ABBA.
research?
We did actually. I mean, we were listening.
Who are you
to
listening to?
ABBA, the Bee
Bee
Gees.
Gees.
But you know, to be honest, also I think the impetus for this also was listening to Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour album, and she has that song High Horse, and we were like, that's like really obviously disco inspired. Like, what is our version of that?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
So, you know, and then because we were cart before the horse type people, we quickly started thinking, well, first of all, we're never gonna let anybody hear this song, or it's gonna be our first single. It ended up becoming our second single, but somewhere in the process early on, we decided we needed to make an absurd music video for it. But anyway, it's definitely sort of a disco inspired song, but I don't know if that comes across in the acoustic.
Yeah.
Well,
try.
I'm very anxious to hear, and then I want to talk about the video treatment after that. But this is No King with the 180s here in the Jam Happy Hour. You guys take it away.
The only thing that you know, honey, is how to give a run for the money to cover is blown. For sympathy, your hand-me-down stories to tragedy. I'm falling right for it again. You won't be long. Flying with your crown. What goes up comes down. So drop another time bomb in my head. Watch until it blows and I'm seeing red. You're gassing up the lights, honey. Now I see you falling from your tower, baby. You're no king. 'Cause I have found that what goes up comes down. Dazzle me, call me a little crazy. I'm an easy mark, and you're a little shady at times. It's come to an end. I'm taking off your crown. What goes up comes down. So drop another time bomb in my head. Watch until it blows and I'm seeing red. You're gassing up the lights, honey. Now I see you falling from your tower, baby. You're no king. 'Cause I have found that what goes up comes down. Only thing that you know, honey, is how to give a run for the money too. You drop another time bomb in my head. Watch until it blows and I'm seeing red. You're gassing up the lights, honey. Now I see you falling from your tower, baby. You're no king. 'Cause I have found that what goes up comes down. Yeah, I have found that what goes up comes down.
It's so good. It is such. It's so interesting because like you roll into that song thinking you're going to hear like disco, and then you're like, but no, it's still this very unique and like amazing sound that you guys do. But then you kind of get lost in the song, and then you're picking up on all the disco notes, and it's like it's all there. Like it's a really beautiful like
Thank you.
mixture of sounds that you guys are doing. And you talked
Cool.
about the video treatment on that song, and how interesting is it to we talked about visual music stuff because we're music nerds and we do that. But when you actually like have to put a visual to a song, be it a video or be it a treatment, like where does that come from? Who's that brain? Like who has the vision and what happened with No King? I'm very interested now.
Well, so Daniel's day job is he's like a video, guru. He's really a video editor, but he also does like video directing and composes for videos and such. So,
Okay. Well, that doesn't
Yeah.
hurt.
no, it doesn't hurt at all. Yeah. So, yeah, where did this start?
I mean, I think we started talking about this video like before we finished the song.
Oh,
Like, it
yeah.
was late one night and we were probably really delirious and we wanted to go to the gas station actually to get some wine.
Oh yeah, we were getting wine. Oh yeah, and that's right. The lyrics for the song, the song was not done, and the lyrics were not even done. And I'm pretty sure talking about the video helped us finish the lyrics for the song.
Yeah,
How
we started talking.
interesting.
Yeah, we started talking about like, what if we just had this dystopian farce set in a disco, and like, inspired by like Coen Brothers, films
Oh.
or whatever. Like we had no idea exactly what we were planning.
It's like a
We just-
challenge. Like
yeah, so
we're
we
going to throw this bar way out here and
Yeah.
let's see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we went back and we just started talking about characters. Like we didn't really know a story yet. Like we just knew we wanted it to be something absurd and maybe. Oh, hey, we got interrupted by our buddy.
Hi.
This is Chucky.
It's Chucky.
Hi, Chucky. We have 3 cats running through the house.
do.
Yeah.
Hi.
But yeah, we just started. We started throwing paint at the wall, like we said earlier. Like same with the video part of it. We started just coming up with characters. Pulling reference images. Online, just say, hey, what if we build a character around this person? And just throwing these reference images into a deck, writing these little descriptions, and then came up with a loose treatment for it, like as far as like what happens in the video.
Kind of went like full force. What would be the craziest thing if, like, what's the craziest thing that could happen in this video?
Yeah, and what we came up with was, basically it's like a disco cult at this nondescript place and time, and there's this villain who we called Hugo, who I guess ultimately his people turn on him, and they all end up jumping in basically a confetti grinder.
Yeah, everyone jumps into a hole in the
Sounds very
stage
disco.
and they turn into
I thought it was
confetti. Yeah.
We thought it was pretty funny and absurd. Some people thought it was pretty dark, but we had a lot of inside
That
jokes
makes me
in that.
laugh.
Somebody in an interview recently called it a snuff film. We're like, okay, I guess.
Wow. Okay,
is-
but with glitter, confetti.
but
To each their
yeah,
own,
yeah.
if you guys
so-
are curious and you want to kind of see what we're actually talking about, jump in with the 180s and all their socials. And if you are enjoying the music, the best thing you can possibly do is like and share in your playlist and whatever platform you're listening on, whether it be Spotify, Apple, or iHeart. Like just like and share. It really does go a long way, especially when you're getting like the inside knowledge on how everything kind of came to be, that when you get to share it with your friends, you can kind of share the stories as well too. And thank you so much for both of you being here and sharing all of this with us here in the Jam Happy Hour, which is going by super fast. I want to definitely jump in on some more music here really, really quickly. But first, Autumn, to you. You have a very interesting combination of vocals and violin, which doesn't happen very often. Which did you pick up first? Did you know you could sing? Did you know you could play the violin? What did you gravitate towards first?
So when I was in 5th grade, the school I went to like offered a strings class, And I was like, sure, I want to do that because it sounds like I can get out of class. So that sounds great.
Yes, that sounds like fifth grade.
Yeah. So that's literally the reason I picked up violin. And it just like instantly, I just like, I don't know, it
made
had
sense.
something in it that, yeah, I just, so then.
It makes no sense to me. That's why I like your brain amazes me, because I'm just like, I couldn't possibly. But for you, like, it just clicked.
Yeah, I picked it up and it just immediately I just kind of fell in love and I like I guess I learned pretty quickly. But fast forward like I don't know 9 years or something when I was so I didn't sing at all. Like I've never really sung
No.
until I was 19 years old and I was in the bathtub and I had on the jazz station and I heard Ella Fitzgerald sing and I like remember the moment and I was like just even to this day, she's like my favorite singer. And I think that's pretty much like when I started dabbling in singing a little bit.
Yeah.
I did in high school, I did like, I think a half a year of choir, but I wasn't really that into it.
Sure. More music education.
Yeah, yeah. But I was always like the orchestra girl, you know, like I was in all the orchestras, all the honors orchestras, all the quartets, like that was me. So yeah, I didn't start singing until a lot later. And I still really don't
Instruments were
consider
your
myself a
first
singer.
love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very interesting that Ella came along.
Yeah.
And you felt something, decided to like, and in the bathroom too. The acoustics are fantastic.
Of course. Yeah.
Everybody sounds amazing in the bathroom. But you've managed to take it into like this really beautiful space of, again, we go back to blending genres and blending, modalities of being able to make this very unique sound that is the 180s for you guys. And it's relatively new. A few years of you guys, doing this. Where do you see it going in the next couple of years? Like, where do you project it?
Well, we started working.
Because I know
with
you
an
got new
agent
stuff
just-
coming out very soon.
Yes, we have an album coming out this Friday. So in 2 days, that is our debut album. It has been almost 3 years in the making.
Wow. The pandemic, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much the pandemic.
Well, that's a big deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we're planning on trying to do some touring, supporting larger acts, in and out of town. We're working with an agency now, trying to get some bookings, but we've just started that process, but definitely expect to see us out and about, both with the acoustic duo and also with the 7-piece band and variations thereof.
Yeah. And also too, like when we were writing this record, there's a lot of songs we didn't put on the record that we're like, okay, that'll be for album number 2. So we have so many songs in the works and for the next thing, but we're focusing on the first thing for now.
I'm seeing like Minefield's Autumn's version, down the road.
Oh yeah.
Or Daniel's version or whatever.
Yeah.
You talk about hometown. Where is home base right now?
We're in Cary, North Carolina.
You're right outside of Raleigh.
We usually say, Raleigh, but just right outside of Raleigh. So
I went to school in Chapel Hill. So,
So did I.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
Tar Heel.
Tar Heel?
Tar
Yeah,
Heels.
yeah.
Yay! We're not going to discuss class and years and all that good stuff, but it's a very distinct sound coming out of the Carolinas. So, Autumn, you being from the Pacific Northwest, how are you acclimating to Carolina life?
I have to admit, like my whole life, never liked country music, never liked anything close to it, never listened to bluegrass. Don't think I ever heard a banjo before. I don't know.
Oh my God!
But I actually moved down here 13 years ago with the intent to move back to the Pacific Northwest. And I fell in love with North Carolina and just, I never looked back. So, and the band that we met in New Reveille was, I mean, as he said, kind of more country, and he played the banjo in it. And along with other
like,
things. But I love it. I love the music that comes out of this area, and it's awesome.
It kind of fits y'all's vibe, though. It's very eclectic. Like North Carolina is like again one of those 180 states. Like you think you're experiencing one thing, and then boom, you're suddenly over here. Like
Yeah.
you think you're going to a barbecue pull, and then all of a sudden you're in the RTP with the most amazing medical minds in the world. Like
Yeah.
the whole region is constant, like a snap back and forth.
That's true. Yeah. You can drive like 20 minutes and be, yeah,
Kind of in a
like you're,
different place.
yeah, completely different vibe
Oh,
and place.
from
and, yeah.
Duke University to like the best kind of like backwoods country jam you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
It's a very it makes sense to me now that musically there's a lot of influences going on there, and I would love to jump in. We're halfway done already. We've
Wow.
done 2 songs, so I'm gonna shut up. And I'm gonna let you guys do what you do best here with the 180s and the Jam Happy Hour. What song would you like to perform for us next?
We're going to do a song called Hold Back the Tide.
Not the Crimson Tide, right?
No.
Okay, I'll just check it. Hold back the time with the 180s here in the Gym Happy Hour. Enjoy.
Thought we could hold back the tide, but all I can see is a sinking, and I look at you every time like a lifeboat, shot full of holes and nowhere to go. So how far can we run with the hammer pulled back on the gun? How long can we hold on to something we know will never come? So hard to look at yourself through the bark and labyrinth of our hell, and I'm walking on you like a tightrope that's bound to break. I'll lose you all over again. So how far can we run with the hammer pulled back on the gun? How long can we hold on to something we know will never come? Can we run with the hammer pulled back on the gun? How long can we hold on to something we know will never come? Thought we could hold back the tide, but all I can see is a sinking.
That is sad. I mean, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's very good. But it's a sad song.
It is a pretty sad song. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're pretty sad at the time that song happened, right?
Yeah, I guess we were both pretty sad maybe when that happened,
It
when
was
we
the
wrote that song.
beginning of the pandemic, and you know.
Oh, well,
And
that puts a whole nother layer on it too.
Yeah.
For sure.
just, you know, things being out of your control, you know,
Ha.
relationships coming to an end, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Oh, I
that
think we
song's a
all
bummer.
have a little bit of a little bit of experience with that. But how interesting is it that like a song that you wrote in that moment, you know, will live on and it will go beyond those years, and someone's going to hear it, you know, 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line, and it's going to mean something completely different to them. Do you ever have that kind of like in the back of your mind when you're creating these songs, like they're going to live on and have a life of their own?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you go
I
ahead.
don't know. I mean, I started thinking, like, you never really know how people are going to respond to your music or how they're going to interpret it or how that
Sure.
interpretation might change over time. But it is often interesting to see what people come back with and come up with. I know at one point, like, I'd written a song called Miracle that New Revel used to play.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, somebody who had lost a daughter, whose daughter had recently, they had lost their daughter. It resonated with them. And like at the time, like, I never had kids, and I guess, I mean, that song is about losing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wasn't necessarily thinking what they were thinking, right? So
Yeah.
as I started telling the story, I started realizing I don't really remember the details of that story. I just
Well, it's like, you
remember-
know, they're going to hear it from their mind's eye or
Yeah.
from their perspective.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you've lost a child, when you think of loss, that's the first thing you're going to go to. And,
Right.
you know, if you've lost a lover, if you've lost a best friend, or, you know, it's like
Yeah.
whatever you're going through in that moment. So you write this, you know, this beautiful song about loss.
Yeah.
It's going to attach to wherever that loss is and somebody else. So I mean, the
Yeah.
question, I guess,
Yeah.
is more so like, you know, your song, once you create it and you guys release it, it becomes something different. Like,
Yeah.
do you ever take that in to be like, it has its life of its own?
I personally like haven't, I guess, thought of it that way. I mean, I know people will hear it and people will have a, you know, hopefully if all goes well, they'll like it and, you know, attach their own personal kind of meaning to it. But I guess, yeah, I haven't really thought like that far ahead, you know, like into the future, like, oh, this song, you know, could potentially people could be listening to like 5, 10 years down the road and it could mean something
Yeah.
to them then. And that's actually really cool to
Kind of
think
deep.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kind of deep.
A lot of times, like, the two of us will have different interpretations of a song that we write together.
Yeah.
You know, especially as time goes by. Like, you know, as we were finishing up the album, some of these songs we'd written a few years ago, you know, that were going on the album. So we had to like talk about, what do we tell people when they ask us what this song's
Yeah.
about? You know.
And two, I feel like, I mean, this song was probably one of the first ones that we wrote, and I would say even for myself, maybe you too. I don't really know, but the meaning for the song has evolved within myself as well over time.
Sure.
Like it, you know, it hits me different. All these songs, like some of them will hit me differently at different times, and that's just with, I think, music in general. You know, sometimes a certain song will give you chills, whereas like the next day maybe it won't, and I don't know what that is, but
Not in a bad way, but I think,
Yeah.
you know, obviously we're all growing and evolving and we hear things differently, and, you know, our storylines are, you know, in different spots on the line along the way. But I just love the fact that music is fluid and music can be whatever it needs to be in that moment. And the fact that you guys are creating something like that, and then you put it together in a package, and you've got, you know, Minefields coming out later this week in a handful of days. Like, your album is out into the world. Musical Baby. Phew,
Yep.
out. And, you know, it's a full collection of your thoughts and your feelings and what you've been through in the last couple of years. And you really have to, you know, get to a point where you're like, okay, we're ready, we're going to do this. And also B, almost kind of give up ownership of it
You
to
kinda
let
do.
it be interpreted along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you really
that's
do.
true.
You're giving up control over it, which is hard for me.
As the engineer, as the level brain one, you're like, no. But
Yeah.
but it's also beautiful, you know. It's
Yeah.
like you're putting like this amazing piece of work out into, you know, the ether for people to kind of, you know, find and take on their own journeys. How would you describe Minefields as an album as a whole?
Well, kind of like a journey, perhaps. What do you think?
I think it's very much a product of the pandemic and where we were in life. And we called it minefields in part because, there was so much uncertainty in our lives and in the world at that time. And just coming to terms with the fact that you don't really get certainty in life. And you never know where it is exactly where you're about to step, hence the hence the minefields
metaphor.
reference. So, but you have to step anyway. So that's kind of where we were at, is realizing, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't expect certainty in life. And, but there was a progression and some evolution over the course of writing it. And I think we became a little less serious from the beginning to the end of it, as we healed, and saw our way through some stuff. And some of the more recent tunes on there, like Nightmare Baby and No King, are a little more tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. Yeah, we decided at some point to have more, like, there's some serious stuff going on here. Maybe we should have a little more fun.
Fun again. Yeah. And now we're back to doing that too. It must be interesting for y'all as artists to have this snapshot of time, musically with the album or any album and all the albums, forthcoming. But then, as music lovers and listeners, we're just now picking it up. And it's very interesting. I love hearing the stories behind the songs, and I love knowing where they come from. But I also love just hearing it, on my own, and what lyrics trigger me, not trigger in a bad way, but like click.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh my God, that really made sense to me. So what song would you like to play for us next? And is it coming off the new album?
Yes. So Nightmare Baby is the next song we're
you
going to
just
play
mentioned
next. And we were, talking about things being more tongue-in-cheek now. So this is one of the more recent ones we did. Another hard one to pull off acoustic, but
Yeah, it's the
Y'all are
acoustic
killing
version.
it. I don't know what you're talking about. This sounds fantastic here.
I think we're just used to the way the record sounds, and then we play it acoustically, and we're like, this is different. Okay.
missing 100 tracks. Yeah.
Well, thank you to the 180s with Nightmare Baby here in the Jam Happy Hour. Take it away.
See you crawling out of your mind, trying to make a sound, but you're paralyzed. And every word I say to you is a game you know you're gonna lose. Hide until I'm cold, or play until you fall. But don't close your eyes, 'cause I'm a nightmare baby. Oh, and I will be a nightmare baby. Do you like it when it's dangerous? 'Cause you're on fire again, and something's chasing us. A paranoia's killing you, and all your teeth are coming loose. Kind and yet uncruel, clever like a fool. So don't close your eyes.
Somebody's into dream interpretation. And I heard the loose teeth. I mean, I was like, oh, we're into
Yeah.
dreams here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nightmare Baby. Fantastic. Again, thanks to the 180s for joining us here in the Jam Happy Hour. Who is the dream breaker downer?
I mean, I certainly think of myself as like the nightmare baby, I guess. I'm the nightmare baby.
Yeah. I think everybody can be kind of a nightmare, but
Yeah.
that song is
A
kind
lot of
of
people don't remember their dreams when they wake up. So that's why
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that you wrote an entire song kind of devoted on, in my interpretation of like, you know, having these kind of thoughts.
So yeah, I guess the song. Gosh, you should hear the original. What was the song? It was so different.
remember.
Anyways,
Oh,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
lyrical, yeah, it was very different. But I think this song for us is really touching on like extreme highs and lows that we can feel like day to day, and
We both
just,
feel a lot. We both feel a
yeah,
lot.
we feel a lot, and just how like maddening that can feel, and how it can feel just like, yeah.
But kind of a tongue-in-cheek spin on it. Well, I think maybe the tongue-in-cheek doesn't come across so much acoustic, but like the album version is pretty fun.
It's got
pretty
some
fun.
silly stuff in it, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because I'm just like kind of watching the dynamic between the both of you. When it comes to a song coming together, who initially comes up with like, oh, I have an idea? Is it like I have a riff, I have a song, I have a story? It's very storyteller. So when you talk about sometimes having the music and not yet having the lyrics done just yet, but I almost kind of feel like there's maybe like a drivingness in there. So where do the songs begin? Is my question.
It's literally never the same. I mean, there's not like, we don't have a process. We have like, sometimes he's like, listen to this drum beat, let's make a song, and I'm like, okay. And sometimes sometimes I'm like, listen to this melody I wrote on my phone, and he's like, all right, that's a song, let's make it. Or like for one of the songs in the record, he had written like this beautiful poem or lyrics, I don't really know what it was, and I was like, that's gonna be a song, and I put music to it. And that's not typical, but literally any
not?
way you can possibly think that music might start being written is how we do
Or
it.
eavesdropping, hearing overhearing a conversation, like I'm gonna take that and put it in a song, or
Yeah.
or just
Oh, like sitting at the neighborhood Chili's and you hear somebody having an argument.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a song.
I'm gonna take that. Yeah, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
Bob and
But-
Cindy from Cary, North Carolina, your song. Nightmare.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that just kind of goes to show that like music is everywhere. Music is in everything. Everything can inspire, any and everything can inspire a song. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll hear like leaf blowers outside, be like, "Did you hear that? They harmonized for a second." Like we just hear music everywhere.
everywhere.
You guys have sick harmonies. I mean, obviously you have a great relationship, and obviously you love to build things and do like music together and life together and friendships together. But like the harmony, like that is something that doesn't come along super easily. At what point did you realize like, hey, we can kind of do this on a different level?
Well, you should really hear the album. It's coming out this Friday because if you like harmonies, oh boy. But again,
Because y'all have it. I mean, you could probably harmonize just talking at the same time, but like your voices are very well like melded and married. Like
Oh,
as far as like
thanks.
aesthetically.
cool. Well,
like,
thank
It's a
you.
beautiful sound.
Well, yeah. What do you have to say about that? You're singing the harmonies, man.
I mean, you're singing harmonies too. I mean,
In this moment, acoustically, you're singing the harmonies.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. I mean, I just kind of try to hide. If I can just kind of hide, stay in the right place in the mix, it all works out, right?
His
I'll
his
stay
like
back here.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because you were like he was in some like pop punk bands, I guess, back in the day.
Yeah.
And he's got a mean belt on him.
No, I don't. I haven't done that in a long time.
Oh, you need your time to shine, Daniel.
There's some spots in the record where you're like
Well, in the live show that we have, the full band live
Yeah.
show, kind of have to belt. That's a
Yeah.
real belty show for both of us.
yeah.
I want to talk about the live show. I absolutely want to talk about like what's next, what's coming
yeah.
up. Now the album's coming out. We've got like 10 minutes left.
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
want to jump into more music
Okay.
like super fast because I'm loving your sound and I'm loving the vibe. And what would you like to play for us next here in the Jam Happy Hour?
You play Fever Dream.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to play? What do you want to play?
Fever Dream.
Yeah, Fever Dream. Okay.
All right, Fever Dream here with the 180s in the Jam Happy Hour.
All right.
this empty room I lay, wondering if you'll ever show, like a sickness I cannot evade. Well, I know I might have been a fool to hope for a sin to save you. I put your letters on the cold, as if I ever could forget. Oh, and I feel you burning in my head again. Yeah, I go digging through ashes, looking us in to save us. Was I falling or flying? 'Cause I don't think I wanna know yet. I can't fight it, lost in a fever dream of you. You know my sickness is you. You got it too. Oh, I built you up inside my head. That fever dream left me for dead. Was I falling or flying? Don't think I wanna know. Was I falling or flying? 'Cause I don't think I wanna know yet. Ooh. I can't fight it, lost in a fever dream.
Falling or flying. Very similar feelings and beautifully orchestrated in that song, Fever Dream, here with the 180s and the Jam Happy Hour. You guys have a really great way with lyrics and storytelling. Who were the storytellers that you grew up listening to? Like, where do you think this influence came from?
Man, I mean, I really listened to a lot of grunge growing up.
Okay.
But and like No Doubt and just
Yes.
anything and everything 90s. And I see.
Authentic.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of 90s music though, like some of the lyrics were like kind of random at times, like didn't have a lot of story sense to them. So I attribute a lot of the story aspect of it to Daniel. He's like, I mean, he's a writer. Like, I mean, of course we wrote all the lyrics together, but I
Yeah.
think he likes to drive things in a direction to where like, I think the song should really make sense. And I'm like, let's just like find a meaning afterwards. No, but
It sounds like a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, just growing up, like my dad is king of all storytellers. Like, just growing up and hearing his stories, it just got, I soaked it in. But then when I
The
became,
beginning, the middle, the end, the payoff, the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like,
and just I don't know, like I think when I really got into music, I was a teenager. And at first, I also was into classic rock, but also grunge. That's where maybe a lot of the doom and gloom in our lyrics come from.
it's not.
Grunge influence, but then as I got, later in high school, early in college, I went through a Bob Dylan phase, and I just realized, whoa, like all of this music is like stands on its own as like a work of literature. So I got into that for a short bit, and but still to this day, a lot of times when we put a pen to page, like neither one of us necessarily knows what we're about to say or where it's coming from. It's not like, hey, there's a song, I want to write a song about this,
Yeah.
Let's put it on index cards, our beginning, middle, and end, as you said. A lot of times it's like, it's just put a bunch of stuff down and be like, what's jumping out? Like what sounds and feels good, and let's maybe write around that, right? A lot of times we have, like, our songs are word salad to start with.
Word salad. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
And
great.
then we just pick a line out of there we like and write around it.
Yeah.
The 90s was a very interesting time in music. I mean, I think you came into it with hair metal, and then along came grunge, and then came Britpop, and then, by the end of the 90s, it was, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. Like, musically, we were all over the place. And I saw a really great meme today, and it was like, Oasis or Nirvana?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, ooh, wow, that's
Yeah.
a hard question. But I think both viable, by the way. You can't pick
Oh,
a
yeah.
winner.
Yeah, both very good.
But you go back to the 90s as a sphere of influence, and it's like, it's literally everything from
It's all over the place. Yeah.
Gloria Estefan to
Right.
Britney Spears. Like, you've done the whole thing.
Yeah,
We
true.
have time for one more song here
okay.
in the Jam Happy Hour. And what would you like to close us out with?
Let's see. What song do we want to do?
That lasting impression. Doesn't have to be from the 90s.
Or what?
Do you have another, like, banger?
I don't know that we have another banger.
I could listen to you guys sing the alphabet at this point. It's fantastic. So whatever you would like.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a song called Fool's Gold.
Fool's Gold here in the Jam Happy Hour, the 180s.
You always showing up at the right time. The world is all your stage for to make the perfect crime. Well, I can play along for a while. You should know that you're hollow, fool's gold, never fool me. A little lost in the glow, I see it's all for sure, but we can shine for a while. Gave it one more chance 1,000 times. A suicide romance, spotlight fades, and now I'm running out of reasons to stay here with you. 'Cause you're hollow, fool's gold, never fool me. Tell me to hang the moon just to watch it fall, but it can shine for a while, and I'll be
really like that last line.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
Those are, it's amazing music. It's a great sound. The stories are there. Everybody's connecting, emotionally. Big things on the way. Mindfield's out in just a couple of days. August 18th, if you're hearing this in the podcast or you're checking out later on our channels, like the music is out. So definitely make sure you're following the 180s as they continue to give us more beautiful, beautiful music. If you happen to be in the Raleigh area, there is some live shows coming up. The album release is coming up very shortly. But beyond that, what is the plan to perform live and get out and about?
Well, we're kind of like hitting it big next week. Next Friday, August 25th, we're playing for the first time with like a full piece full 7-piece band. So we're really excited about that. So that's gonna kind of sort of more or less kick things off for us. We have a couple of shows lined up after that. We're gonna be playing at the Annapolis Songwriters Festival in September, and hoping to just kind of fill out the rest of the year. But yeah, people can find out more about our shows on our website, the 180s all spelled out.com. We've got like a little tour section there, and yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your talent.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for just
guys.
hanging out and
It's been fun.
enjoying a great evening with us. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it was really great, Jana. That was really fun.
And we look forward to hopefully having you in Napa soon. And in the meantime, we will be watching and following and liking and sharing, because that's what we do when we like music. So cheers to the 180s. Cheers to Jim Happy Hour. You guys have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Good night.